Kan julle my badge sien?
Ja, maar jy moet jou hare skuif.
Ja, daai baie blonde hare is bietjie groot.
Dat ek 'n pony maak.
Is perfek so.
Ja.
Okay.
Is my lippe nog mooi?
Weg 'n oomblik.
Exhaustion.
Deon, kom in Deon.
Hy trok min.
Okay, minder as 'n minuut.
Deon, jy moenie net weggaan nie.
Yeah.
Nee, nee, ons is gereed.
Seconds to go, and then we're live. Yo, yes. Are you waiting for another lady? It looks like a lady to come into the Zoom meeting. No, I'm letting her in. She's in.
Voel asof ons 'n maanlanding gaan doen. Kan julle sien die loop daai timertjie so af? Dit is op 19, 18 sekondes.
Okay, so jy sien die timer, jy kan sien wanneer hy live gaan, hè?
Ek sien hom nou ja.
Okay. Ek gaan nou verdwyn. En wat ek net van voorstel, maak net seker hy's gemute daar, so anders dan gaan jy baie
Feedback.
probleme hierso hê. Feedback hê.
1, you're live.
Right, welcome to our session. For those of you who don't know, we are talking about the big KW advantage in South Africa. What is it that makes us different from all the other companies? My name is Deon Terblanche. I'm the operating partner of Keller Williams Eden and the Garden Route. I've been in real estate now for about 14 years and in Keller Williams for 3.5 years. And it's been a ride. We started Keller Williams in George, or the Garden Route, with about 11 agents back in 2017. And due to a number of things and good luck sometimes, but also what we did, we are now standing at over 130 agents. So with me today, I've got some of the biggest names in Keller Williams South Africa in terms of growth, leadership, and it's my pleasure to introduce you to Rollo Armour, Franko van Zyl, Bernice, Maree, and all the way from Atlanta, USA, but with strong South African roots still, Marco Coetzer. Welcome, everybody.
Good morning, Deon. Good morning, panelists.
So
Thanks, Deon.
I've introduced myself. I think, Rollo, let's start with you. Give our audience a little introduction of, from yourself.
Hi, everybody, and welcome on the call. I'm Rollo, the sweetest taste in real estate, and been in real estate 23 years, going on to 5 years with Keller Williams, and in the team leader role now, it will be 2 years. I look after the only virtual market center that we have in South Africa that looks after the agents in the outlying areas as far as the Alice Russ border, Bloemfontein and Kimberley. And again, welcome on the call.
And for our international guests, Afrikaans is the reason why we can say our R so nice like Rollo just did. Franko, all the way from Centurion, introduce yourself to the audience, please.
Thank you, Deon, and welcome to everybody. So I'm fortunate to be the team leader of Keller Williams Centurion, award-winning market center here since 2015. I've been with this market center. We started out with about 18 agents, and we're over 100 agents now. And I'm a full status agent since 2005. I'm a former principal owner of a smaller franchise brokerage at the coast. Now I'm in Centurion inland, and I'm married with 2 grown-up kids. So there we go.
Thank you, Franko. Bernice, tell our audience who you are.
Good afternoon, everybody. So my journey started in real estate in 2002 as a typical real estate agent, and I think Marco was with me when I started there at the brand where we were. It was a roller coaster event. So in 2017, it was one day when one of my deals just collapsed, and it was the only deal for the month. And I was driving back home and said, I'm finished with real estate. I think that is what so many agents sometimes say every day. And I was driving and I just took my steering wheel and I said, Lord, please give me a miracle. And at that stage, my phone rang and it was my OP where I started in 2002. And Louis said to me, Bernice, I've got a business proposition. And I said, oh Lord, I just asked, I want to be out of this, give me a miracle. And he said, please come and see me. So I saw him that same afternoon and he told me all about Keller Williams and models and systems. And I didn't have a cooking clue what he was talking about because there was a DOFI and an MCA and a long list. And then he came to Keller Williams values and he said, our values, Keller Williams values is God, family and business. And I said, Louis, when do I start? And that's how my journey started at Keller Williams as team leader in Clockwork Benoni. We started with 43 agents when I joined Clockwork, and we're on 112 today. And I can also say 2019, I had the privilege of being team leader of South Africa for that year.
That was 2019, and what a year you had, Bernice, but what a story. Wow, just wow. I never really heard that story before, so thank you for sharing that.
Welcome.
So Marco, can you still speak Afrikaans?
I was wondering if we could do this whole panel in Afrikaans. I speak Afrikaans here, but it's frowned upon. No one understands or seems to know what I'm talking about. Thank you for the opportunity, Deon.
So for the sake of our international guests, let's do this thing in English. Why don't we?
Why don't we agree? So thank you very much, Keller Williams South Africa. What an honor and privilege to be part of this exciting event, Keller Williams South Africa Family Reunion 2021. It is truly exciting and it's so nice to see all the familiar faces. Also, congratulations to all our Keller Williams Southern Africa award winners. Special thank you, obviously, or congratulations rather to Keller Williams Advanced, which is very close to my heart. My real estate career started when I was in high school doing listings for my father and growing his database for, I think, 20 or 25 cents per listing and contact number. And I've been in real estate full-time now for 25 years. This is January, and usually January I reach out to Johan Gous just to thank him once again for his persistence in phoning me and keep on phoning me after several rejections when he wanted to tell me more about Keller Williams. I joined Keller Williams in the beginning of 2013, was one of the first market centers to opened Keller Williams Realty Advance. Initially back then it was slightly different. I filled the role of MCA and team leader and OP and thereafter coach on top of that. And I was still selling. It was very, very challenging, but I learned a lot. And as I've been with Keller Williams for 8 years now and relocated to the States around about almost 2 years ago and accepted a team leader position last year, September. So I started in the team leader position at a 300 agent plus market center. And we have an annual closed sales volume for 2020 of $651 million. So it's a big market center, big volume. And it's just been an incredible, amazing, fantastic, learningful, exciting journey so far. 8 years in Keller Williams, absolutely amazing.
The stories are brilliant. As I said, I've never really spoken to each one of you, in this sort of detail regarding your journey. But we're talking models today. We're talking about Keller Williams and the Keller Williams model, and specifically the advantage that it brings to our agents and obviously our leadership as well. I think each one of us has gone through a journey, which is what you've just told us now. There was a journey that you were not part of Keller Williams. Similarly, on my side, I was also not part of Keller Williams. In fact, I've been running, I've had an independent company for a decade as an agent and a principal. And I always say that I didn't need help. We did quite well. We had several offices spread all across the Garden Route. We did very, very well. And initially, there was no need for us to look at any other company. In fact, we were approached, as you can imagine, being the largest independent group in the Garden Route, we were approached by all the other brands. So I know what my story is, but I'm quite curious to hear what your story is. Why did you then join Keller Williams, and what do you think? What do you think is that, what makes it the ideal model? Rather, what was your story there? How did you get to Keller Williams, and why is it the ideal model in your opinion? Rolo, did you catch me there?
I did. Sorry, for a moment, I had a door open and people walking in. I'm sorry about that, Deon.
No problem.
I was also one of that smaller agencies on my own. It was just me and Sean and 2 agents. And you sort of have your market share, but then you become a sort of a no man's island where you're completely on your own. And that's where we met Estelle, and I've known her for years. And that's where the conversation started, where she brought training for me. She opened systems, networks that happened from there. And I think that's the joy that I enjoy in my conversations as a team leader, especially with what we call a pop-up shop in South Africa that wants to convert into being a bigger name, but don't lose their entity. And that's what Keller Williams is bringing us. You know, you're not losing anything. You're busy building a business. You can maintain your brand. And that was then a no-brainer for me. And we are a high volume, low margin business. I'm sure there's so many of the pop-up shops that are out there that will say to you is the moment we start doing the numbers for them at the end of the day, and just to bring their team into Keller Williams, then it becomes a no-brainer. To have a small little pop-up shop today, baseline with all the accounts that's attached to it, 30,000 Rand a month. And then, I mean, it's a small little one-man band from there. And Keller Williams brings that difference where you instantly have that market center, that network, and the software and tools that they showed me into those opportunities.
Love it. In fact, many of the things that you just mentioned now reminded me, I'm making notes furiously here, reminded me of some of the things that I picked up when we got into Keller Williams. But I want to get to Franko first. Franko, if I'm not mistaken, you were with one of the other big international brands at some stage before Keller Williams. Now, you don't have to mention the brand, but I'm curious, what is it that you saw as the difference? What is that big advantage that Keller Williams offers to our agents, and was that the thing that made you move?
Yeah, I think that's a very interesting question, and thanks for the opportunity. But so I retrospectively looking back, I think I was in transition. I made a transition from the coast. I left my business and database behind for family reasons. We relocated from KwaZulu-Natal, Ballito, where most of the Gauteng people retire. I made the opposite move and moved up to Gauteng, and I was in transition. So I was looking for opportunity, and having been a business owner and having closed my national franchise dealership in that area, that office, I was looking for a business opportunity because I never really just wanted to remain an agent. I was a owner broker of my own agency in 2008, and that was always the intention, to get back into business. And today I'm really excited about the opportunity to partner with the OP of this market center and the MCA to drive a much bigger business, much bigger on scale than what I ever thought possible by using the models and systems. And that's what Keller Williams taught me, and that's the opportunity that I grabbed.
Fantastic. Yeah, you are part of one of the, or you are the TL, and you've been the TL now. And by the way, Franko, very congratulations with your award yesterday, top TL in South Africa, and certainly well deserved. I want to move to Bernice. Bernice, you've gone through the you've gone through the mill now. Obviously, starting out in the market center. I'm not even sure. I think when you started, that market center might have had a different name, but be it as it may. What you said was you grew that market center from 43 to 112 agents, and that was in a short space of time. So what made it happen? What was the big advantage that you could convey to so many other agents who decided to join Keller Williams?
You know what, Deon, if you look at it, it's the opportunity Keller Williams gives any agent. It doesn't matter if they're intern, a rookie, or millionaire real estate agent, is the opportunity to build a business versus just being an agent, just being a number in a market center. And then if you just look at the powerful value proposition our training in our industry gives any agent, it doesn't matter what their need is. If it's somebody that has to do Ignite that just starts, or it's somebody that has to go on bold or coaching or whatever. But that is the opportunity Keller Williams gives. And if I had this opportunity 20 years ago, I can just imagine what value I could have brought to my own life, to my family's life, and to other people as well.
Love it. So Marco, I mean, to a certain extent, you've really seen it now. You know, you started out as one of the first. In fact, I think you were almost if you weren't first, you were like second in South Africa. So you were there when Keller Williams was still a glinter or a glance in somebody's eye sort of thing. And then it grew to where it is now in South Africa. But moreover, then you could make that move to the United States, where you joined STL, a very large market center. So what is that KW advantage in your eyes? I mean, obviously you are one of the most experienced people now that I know, at least in Keller Williams. What did you see?
Deon, thank you. If you understand moving from entrepreneurial style to purposeful style, the 6 personal perspective, step 3, I won the award for National Top Selling Broker in 2007, my previous network. And then naturally, we want to do better. We want to take our business higher. We want to smash that ceiling of achievement. And that's when my ambition started growing. And I realized that the network at that time did not provide me with everything that I needed to achieve that. And the search began. And once again, if you understand all the emotions that's involved with hitting a ceiling of achievement, and not knowing what to do to break through that, I always joke and I say, Keller Williams refers to that as natural behavior, entrepreneurial style. Einstein refers to that in a certain sense as insanity. That's doing the same thing over and over again and expecting a different result. I needed to do something different. I needed to become, to what we understand now in Keller Williams language, is I needed to become purposeful. And we know that to become purposeful, you need coaching, training, education, and accountability. And Keller Williams provided that, but the journey was long to get to that. And now looking back over 8 years, coaching, training, education, that is what you need to not break through ceilings, achievement ceilings, but literally to smash achievement ceilings. So in my view, and back to Keller Williams in South Africa, Keller Williams Southern Africa is providing the best, broadest, and most comprehensive toolkit for estate agents to grow their businesses and not only reach their business goals, but also their personal goals. And by goals, I'm referring to your short-term goals, your long-term goals, and your life goals. Before joining Keller Williams, I did extensive research into all the real estate networks available and their value propositions. And my need was to find everything that I needed to not only smash those ceilings, but to continuously smash new achievement ceilings. And I wanted all of that on one platform, and I couldn't find that. So therefore, I defranchised from my previous real estate group, and that's when I got in touch with Johan Goos, and Johan Goos reached out to me. And I very, very quickly realized after we had a couple of conversations, this is exactly everything that I was looking for. And the bonus was it is on one platform. So it is available on one platform, everything that you need on a business and a personal level.
I love that, Marco. So I think all of us are in agreement that with Keller Williams, it is, we go further. What Keller Williams offers the agent is much more than just, being that agent. And sometimes you don't know what you don't know. Certainly it was true in my case when I started out, and I thought there was nothing for me to learn because I'm a top agent. But of course, not everybody starts out as a top agent when they join us. So Rolo, what is it that you think agents need most?
I'm going to step a second back here, Deon, and just say to you, remember, we as Keller Williams are loving the dependence, what we refer to the traditional model that we have. And most of our conversations are around those top producers of the traditional companies that, and they always say, yeah, it's the commission split. But I think it is the approach when you start having the conversation. That traditional agent does not come to Keller Williams with necessarily a business mindset at the end of the day. That is something new they learn at Keller Williams. And the moment you start bringing that new approach, that new mindset, a different way of looking at the numbers, you know, the traditional companies are purely, but mostly on, this is your area, there's the stats, that's what you need to achieve. Now in Keller Williams, we start changing the approach completely. And then the moment you bring them that business way of thinking, and then you start giving them a system, a model, and a tool at the end of the day that changes their numbers significantly. You know, just when you start breaking the numbers down for that traditional agent and you show them what they got out of a transaction and you start doing it in the Keller Williams way, they earn way more. They get business tools, and what they want is they want to build a business that's theirs. You know, and we know that, you know, the agent is the business. It's not the company at the end of the day. And an easy way always for people is, I say, you must see a market center almost like these registers where you go for, it's serviced offices. You come to a Keller Williams market center because you want real estate related services. And that's what the agents come and get. They get the training, they get the systems and tools, and the buy-in of the network.
Absolutely. Our industry is going through a period of change now, and we often think that we are 5 years behind, let's say, the United States, for example. And that was certainly one of the reasons why I joined Keller Williams back in the day, because I thought, you know, things are going to change in the industry, and we needed to align ourselves with the biggest player. Now, what you mentioned now is one of those first things, and that's the fact that not many estate agents, when they join, or not many estate agents maybe in South Africa, regard themselves as business owners. Of course, it's not what you write, it's what you keep. You know, it's not the commission that you write, it's the commission that you get to keep. So Franko, do you think we do that? Is that the agent's greatest need? Is that what we can provide to them?
Yeah, Deon. So for me, it's always a case of doing a gap analysis or a needs analysis and trying to find out from the agent what exactly it is that is maybe lacking in their business right now. You know, where are they experiencing a problem? Where can I help them? Because I know that most agents have money problems. And a lot of agents that I talk to simply cannot afford to even make a transition, never mind pay monthly fees towards anything. And they've always been reliant on a traditional brokerage to provide them with that foresight. So having come from that and changing my mindset into business-minded on the scale and the economic model of Keller Williams, and also then looking at the other models that Gary put into the MREA, it's really finding out from the agent in question, and each agent is different, but money is definitely a problem. And I think everybody wants more money to live a bigger life. So, and in order to do that, the one commonality that I've found in terms of a needs analysis, definitely leads. So the more leads they have, the more money they have, and the less leads they have, the less money they have. So there's a direct correlation between leads and money. And of course, if you have money, you can also afford to take time out, and which gives you time with your family, and that allows us that God family business principle to coexist with our business. So in my opinion, what do they need? Yeah, they need the models and systems of Keller Williams, whichever area they have a deficiency on, and it's my job to find out exactly how and where that deficiency is so I can help them.
Exactly. Cannot agree with you more. And Franko, one of the things that we are picking up as our market center is getting more, let's say, mature now, we see that many of obviously it's not one glob of people. It's not just one homogeneous group of people. Every agent has a separate need. And yet you can sort of classify them into certain groups. Now, we'll get to those groups, essentially the dependents that Rolo referred to, the interdependents that we've always said we attract, and that's who Keller Williams want to have as agents. But then also on the other side, the independent agents who are running big businesses like most of us here have done. So Bernice, tell me, in your market center, again, going through that growth phase, which is very similar, I think, to our own market center, what did you pick up? What was your agent or the typical agent in your market center? What was their biggest need?
Deon, I think for our market center and around the whole world, the biggest need that agents need is time. How to balance their work and how to balance their personal life, because they're always busy. I take myself as a team leader. If I don't time block, it's not going to happen, because if it's not in your calendar, it doesn't exist. So at Keller Williams, we show our agents to do more with less. So we leverage. So that's why where the 4 models comes in, and like you're growing, like we started with 43 agents, we've got agents that started building their teams now. So now for the first time, the 4 models, the organizational model comes in. How to start building a team, how to leverage, because you know what, we all succeed through other people. And then if you look at what Keller Williams offers us is the time management with a 411. When you set your goals from the beginning, when a new agent comes in as a rookie, you help them with their GPS, how to reach their goals. And especially with the direct conversations, because it's all about time. What must you be busy with the whole time? We look at the Maree, the time blocking, that brilliant information we get there is, you know what, if you don't schedule, it's not going to happen. And then at the one thing, what is the one thing that you can do today where everything else becomes unnecessary? So for me, as an agent or an OP or leadership, time is one of the most essential things, is because how do you balance that time? Do more with less and leverage.
I love that, Bernice. When agents start out as new agents, often in our market centers, and as you said, Franko, you mentioned the very same thing. Obviously, there's an income need. We have lives to live, and that that takes an amount of money. So what most new agents have, luckily, to invest is that time. So they can invest the time so that they can start earning that money. And the surprising thing is, or the cool consequence out of this is that as they start earning that money, then they can again buy their time back. But now with businesses that support that. So Marco, you're already at a market center now where you've seen this. I'm pretty sure I would imagine at somewhat of a higher level, just the fact that it's such a big market center and your role is still there. Do you think that's the biggest need of estate agents? Do they really want to get into this business side of it there? Or do you still have that same, the interdependent, dependent, and independent agent sort of set up that side as well?
Great question, Deon. I think I'll answer you this way. What I've identified, there's not a big difference apart from a legal perspective and some minor details. There's not a big difference between South Africa and how real estate is bought and sold, and here in the United States. At the end of the day, we still deal with people, and whether you're an estate agent in South Africa or estate agent here, I think the need at the end of the day is very, very similar in terms of achievement. So I'll answer your question this way. In my point of view, what I've experienced, an agent should only have one of 3 problems. I think if you have more than these problems, you need to really take a deep look at yourself. You have too many problems, get rid of the other problems. And the number one problem is probably either a leads problem or a listing problem or a leverage problem. Those are the only problems you should have as an estate agent, a leads or a listing or a leverage problem. And if we look at newer, inexperienced agents, they generally have a leads problem. They generally have challenges with great opportunities to grow their databases, to grow their circle of influence in the real estate world. And then if we look at your more established agents, It is usually knowing and understanding your numbers, more the business side of things, the ratios, your budget model, the Keller Williams model, as we know, in terms of budget, 30% operating expense, 30% cost of sale, to be as close as possible to a 40% profit. So if I divide it in three categories, that's category 2. And then for your top producing agents, generally, they don't have database problems, etc., etc. They have running businesses, huge volume, and generally their need is efficiency in their business and generally more personal time. You know, I go back to our value system, and it's God, family, business, and leading life with having, etc. If we look at the purpose of business is profit, and the purpose of profit is to fund a perfect life. And then I always ask the question, what does a perfect life look like to you? So if we divide it in 3 categories and we look at estate agents' needs, newer and inexperienced agents, get the leads, grow your database, cultivate relationships, maintain those relationships. Next level, be sure you track your ratios. From the beginning, you need to understand the business side of things, not just the selling side of things. You need to have clarity on the business side of things. And then, as I said, what I found sometimes with high achieving, top producing agents, they are extremely good with the selling side of things. But on the business side of things, if you ask questions in terms of tell me your profit, tell me your bottom line. When we started this conversation initially, Deon, you referenced that. What is your bottom line? What is your profit? And then how can we leverage that? What can we do to achieve more and give you more free time? So I would say those are the 3 most evident needs of estate agents around the world.
Marco, so much to unpack there. That is just amazing. I want to focus on one specific thing that you briefly touched on, and that's so important because that's such an integral part of what makes Keller Williams different. Obviously, it's our models and systems. And I think when you start out in Keller Williams, often that you don't really, and I say this with respect because this was true in my case as well, you don't really get it yet. So let's just talk about that business side of things because, you know, this is the business. This is your business worth owning. But what does that mean? So you mentioned that there are certain ratios or business numbers that we want, or the estate agent want to track. And you said it's the 30, 30, 40. Now, maybe for us as leadership, it's something that we've heard quite a few times already. But let's just unpack that in a little bit more detail. What is that? And anybody can chime in here. What is that 30, 30, 40? And let's just explain that to our audience in slightly more detail.
If I may, Deon, if we look at what's happening in the States with Zillow, if we look at South Africa with Property 24, if we look at just the whole buying of leads, if you buy your leads, you need to keep in mind that you are not leveraging your own potential or leveraging through someone else. You are buying your leads, and that increases your cost of sale. And we all know that cost of sale up, expenses up, profit down. And we need to be very mindful. So from new agents all the way through to experienced agents, you need to take a step back when you start in real estate, and you need to understand that you are not an estate agent. You are a business owner, and you need to think like a business owner. You need to plan like a business owner. You need to set your goals like a business owner. So in a nutshell, you need to think like a CEO. Each and every estate agent, whether you started in real estate this morning or whether you're a seasoned estate agent, you need to track your numbers. My goal is always to find the shortest route between point A and point B. What is the minimum input and the maximum output? How can I sum that up? It is without a doubt working smarter instead of working harder. And Deon, I cannot let this opportunity pass me by if we talk about ratios. I asked this question in a coaching session that I had yesterday with one of our top producers. And I said, why do you phone an estate agent? Why does John Doe phone an estate agent? And the answer is, I want to buy property or I want to sell property. And then we cannot isolate that from listings. So listings is the highest leverage opportunity for real estate agents all over the world. And you need to based on talking about ratios, the goal setting you've set for your business, and you need to have clarity in terms of your job and being a business owner. And what do you need to do in your job and what do you need to do as a business owner? And everything goes back to listings. You know, I started because I've always been an aggressive lister, growing market share. I'm very competitive. And when I started as team leader mid-September last year, from the 1st of October, the first thing that I implemented was a rather aggressive listing drive. And then if we look at the months of 2020, from October, we started to have more listings year over year, October and November, December, than we did in 2019, which was not the case from January up until September. And if we look at the impact that that has us for our fellow team leaders on the call and for our estate agents, if you look at the overall impact that listings and market share has on your business, that is the first domino. If we refer back to the one thing, that is the first domino that you need to hit. Our listings grew with 14.9% for the last quarter 2019 to the last quarter 2020, 14.9%. But folks, listen to this. The Metro Atlanta market, the inventory is down 65%. Yet our market center grew listings 14.9%. Why? Because I believe as a leader of this market center, as is written in the Maree book, it is the best leverage, highest leverage possible for an estate agent to grow your market share, because it's going to positively impact your unit sales, your GCI, and the bottom line profit. Why? So that you can fund a life worth living.
Absolutely. It's one of the things that we picked up, and Rola, I'm gonna come to you in a second now, but one of the things that we picked up is exactly that. So listings is your dashboard. It shows you what's lying ahead in your business future. And we've, as a market center, been listing quite strongly now for a long time. And I see you guys, Bernice, are giving us uphill this month. Don't worry, the month is not over yet.
We're number one on the dashboard so far.
Yes, indeed. But that is what converts into that business, and that converts into that life worth living. Imagine as an estate agent, you can come into an office in your area, and that's the dominating office with the most listings. There's a culture of sharing. You get into this, into this network essentially. And sure, when you start lead generating, you get those buyers, and you can, obviously, if you don't have enough listings quite yet, you can just send that out to your teammates or your colleagues, and you can start selling quicker than you would have been able to in a smaller team where it might have just been you and a few other agents. And that's exactly what we are seeing. It also means that it becomes easier and easier for you to go out, even as a young agent, to go out and get those listings. So Rolo, with that in mind, with these conversations are still that you have with your agents, what are those? What are you focusing on in your conversation? I mean, like, how are you helping your agents to get to that life worth living and that business worth owning that Marcus spoke about?
We have what we call our one-on-ones conversations, and I love that we also nurture them. That conversation or that fixed time you have with your top 20. How are you? And you first nurture them, and then we come down the 4 conversations in Keller Williams, and that's really that's the recipe at the end of the day. How many appointments, how many contacts, how many listings, and what's profit, and contracts and profit at the end of the day. And that's how we stick to that. It's almost like, those AA meetings that you go to where you would stand up and go, "Hi, I'm Rolo." And that's how we started, where we go, "Hi, I'm going to use an example. One of my agents is Jana Foster down in Natal." And it's almost like start with the conversation. So many appointments that then where your agent is at in that business, and then you can refer back to their 135 and their 411 and say, "But this is what you've said for yourself, and this is where you are at. Let's find the problem. Why are we not getting to that?" And that's really a powerful tool, because then they can visually see and they can immediately experience why their business and their numbers are down. And the one goes with the other. And it's very hard for agents coming in and then to try and find that equilibrium almost to maintain those numbers And they've done the numbers and they know what they need to achieve for the year to get to that profit and that financial freedom. It sort of starts driving them because they feel down themselves and disappointed in themselves by going, but this has been the goals and I haven't achieved it over a 2-3 week period. And then it's almost like where you need to say to them, but I hate to tell you that I'm always right. So let's go back. Let's start lead generating again and let's create rhythm and routine. Because once there's rhythm and routine and a new habit, they go back to that and then we get the production going.
Excellent. Franko, I wanted to ask you specifically, as you know, you've been an operating partner before, you've now gone back into the team leader role, and your market center is doing very, very well this month, not just in terms of the number of sales and commission written, but also in terms of growth. So I'm just curious to hear, considering, you know, this value offering, the fact that Keller Williams is different, it's almost like we don't really recruit, we attract. You know, we attract those that buy into what this is about, the culture and the training and the coaching and all of that. What is your play for 2021 to reach your agent goal, or the agent count that you want to achieve this year?
Thanks, Deon. Yeah, so I always have been a firm believer that it matters who you're in business with. And so for me, it's been important to know who Keller Williams is, who Gary Keller is, who's the operating partner of the business, who am I entrusting my business as a real estate agent, in whose hand am I placing my business? And I want to tell you, I think I'm not the only one. I think every agent wants to know that their business is safe, that their commission is secure, and that they have a future. And that comes together with accountability and a strong leadership group. And so, yeah, that is what we're playing on, is creating relationships that are lasting, where people are feeling secure, where they feel that they have access. I think access is a very important thing. So wherever possible, and sometimes going beyond the call of duty to take calls after hours, but nevertheless, we don't want to let an agent down. And I think when people experience that level of commitment from you, they know that you know, their business is safe, and that's something that they're prepared to invest in. Because nobody wants to invest in a business that is just for the short term. I believe we're all there for the long haul, and relationships is the key. So relationships also lead to one other thing, which is the culture in the market center. And if your relationships between your leadership and your ALC and your agents are at a high level, and there's a high level of cooperation, as we've seen, as we've grown, the level of cooperation between agents has increased dramatically, and no longer see each other as a threat, but rather as a resource. And so collaboration and joint transactions is something that's happening more often. So that's our play, is working together. And as Bernice always says, teamwork makes the dream work, eh?
That's true. What I like is what you said, and again, it's something we can discuss. It's, you know, in so much more detail, but we don't have time now. But just that the fact that you've got access to a leadership group that consists of more than just one principal, for example, the fact that there's an operating partner. I'm just thinking about our market center. As an operating partner, I do have a lot of experience. I also happen to be an attorney in a previous life, and don't make any jokes, I know them all. But our team leader, in a similar fashion, also you know, can bring that. And as you said, Franko, there's the MCA, there's the DFI, you know, there's the ALC. There's a whole interplay in terms of that interdependence between, you know, the leadership structure, or Keller Williams then, and the agent there. Anyway, I see that time is catching up with us, and I want to end this off with your final thoughts. So our topic was, what is the big Keller Williams advantage in South Africa? And we blitzed through so much here. We can discuss this in a lot of more detail, but let's end this off. Bernice, I'm going to give you the rose between the thorns here. I'm going to give you the first final word here. What is that big KW advantage, or what other words of wisdom do you have to share with us?
Well, from my side, I can just say it's all about building relationships. So from the first contact you do, to the contract. It doesn't matter if it's an offer to purchase or the onboarding contract is the big R. And that is relationships. That's from me. Thank you for this opportunity I had. It was absolutely wonderful.
Love it. Marco, what final words do you have for our audience?
Thank you. Just one comment on what Franko said. Peter Drucker said that culture eats strategy for breakfast every time. I joined Keller Williams. I was not interested that we're a bunch of huggers and that there's a strong culture. That was the last thing I was interested in. I lost a lot of money during the recession, and I was playing catch up. What's the bottom line? What's the model? What's the system? What's the curriculum? How can I achieve my goals? And I'll be the first one to admit it took me 12 months to understand culture and the importance of culture in an organization. And if you ask me what's the number one value proposition right now of Keller Williams, I will tell you that it's culture. To answer your question, Deon, it's the what versus the why conversation. The what is easy, the what is simplistic, the what is in the curriculum, the what is in modeling, which is the first chapter of Maree. That's the what. We can very, very easily identify, implement, execute the what. For me, last words of wisdom is have clarity on your why. Why do you do this? Why is this going to change your world? Why do you need your world to change? No one is as smart as all of us. Consult, collaborate, model. The foundation for me is a strong and healthy culture, a profitable and productive market center. Folks, make your world big. Make your world big enough to influence and create opportunities for the people in our organization and the people in your world, your sphere of influence. Make your world bigger. It is yet to be determined what we can achieve if we work together as a team. And what an honor to be part of this and to be part of this discussion and to be part of this wonderful company of ours, worldwide region, Southern Africa, and here in the United States. I miss all of you. Thank you very much for the opportunity.
Excellent. Rolo, let's hear your final words.
Sure, we've had a lot of conversations and I've been thinking about this now that we talk. I think it's simple. Don't reinvent the wheel. So many has tried it. Read the red book again and do everything they say in there. You know, in my recruiting appointments, I say to the people, I'm going to give you the red book. And I always say, if you can read, you can bake a cake. So go and read the red book again. And that other advantage, I think, is growth share. That's not something that we have had in real estate in South Africa. And that fancy word for that is really your pension plan. Bring us 10 more people that are smarter than you, that can do a deal tomorrow. And I guarantee you 5 years from now, your growth share is going to be unbelievable. That is one of the biggest advantages, I think, at the end of the day, for us as well in Keller Williams. Thanks, everybody. Appreciate it.
Franko, you get to give us your final thought here, and it's got to be a good one because you've heard all these others now.
Yeah, so I'm going to keep it really short. Thank you, Deon. And I'm going to come right to the point, and I'm going to say to you all that don't allow anything to stand in your way. If you're an outside agent or if you're inside, we recruit outside, we recruit inside. We are here for you. We are here to help you in your business. That's what a team leader does. We help you, and we want to cement that relationship, and we want to help you. And don't allow any loyalty to a previous broker or a current broker outside our network to rob you of this opportunity. Grab this opportunity, reach out to a team leader, talk to them. They know what they're talking about, and let us help you. Thank you very much.
Love it. Thank you for joining us. I'll say one thing, and it's going to be one sentence maybe. When I joined Keller Williams, I thought I was the big fish in the pond, and I wasn't. And I saw that I wasn't thinking big enough. Anybody can be an estate agent. Anybody can do this thing. But only a few get to the point where they start building businesses worth owning. There's only one company that can provide you with a model, systems, tech, and training to take it there. You're going to have fun, by the way, while you're doing it. We can take you there. Thank you, my esteemed colleagues. That's it.
Thank you so much.
Make a difference.
Appreciate it.